God's light fills your imperfections. The old wooden bench in Elijah's workshop was groaning under his weight, but he didn't notice. His head was in his hands, his fingers stained with varnish and dust. All around him, the skeletons of beautiful furniture stood silent. A chair with only 3 legs, a cabinet with doors that wouldn't quite close, a table with a hairline crack snaking across its maple surface. For 3 generations, the Miller family had been known for their craftsmanship. Elijah's grandfather had built the soaring pulpit in the town church. His father had carved the intricate front door of the mayor's house. But the stream of flawless talent seemed to have run dry with Elijah. His hands, though skilled, felt clumsy. His vision, though clear in his mind, always seemed to falter in the execution. The final blow had come that morning. A client had returned a commissioned jewelry box, her nose slightly upturned. "It's just not quite right, Elijah," she'd said, placing it gently on the counter as if it were diseased. "The hinge is stiff. The inlay is a millimeter off." A millimeter. The word echoed in the silent workshop. A mere millimeter felt like a canyon separating him from his legacy. He felt like a failure, a disappointment to the name carved above the shop door. Miller and Son Fine Woodworking. He was the son, and he was failing. "What's the point?" he muttered to the dusty air. "Maybe I'm just not cut out for this." The motivation that had once burned like a forge inside him was now cold, dead ash. Dejected, he decided to abandon the shop for the day. He drove out of town, the winding road leading him up into the forested hills. He parked his truck at a familiar trailhead, a path he hadn't walked since he was a boy with his father. The air was cool and clean, scented with pine and damp earth. With every step deeper into the woods, he felt the heavy cloak of his failure tighten around his shoulders. The towering trees seemed to judge him. The chattering squirrels sounded like they were mocking his inadequacy. He walked for an hour, his mind a whirlpool of negative thoughts. "You're a fraud. You're wasting your time. Close the shop. Get a real job." The path eventually opened up to a breathtaking vista, a sheer cliff face overlooking the entire valley. This was his destination, Eagle's Point. But as he approached the edge, his artist's eye was drawn not to the view, but to the cliff itself. The rock face was not smooth. It was a brutal, textured canvas of struggle. It was scarred, cracked, and weathered. Deep fissures ran through the granite like wrinkles on a wise, ancient face. In some places, the stone was sheared clean away, revealing a raw, pinkish granite beneath. In others, tenacious, gnarled juniper trees clung to life, their roots digging into the smallest crevices, gripping the rock with a desperate, stubborn strength. He sat on a boulder, staring at the scarred cliff. It was a mess. It was broken. It was, by any standard of perfection, deeply flawed. And then, as the late afternoon sun dipped lower, something miraculous happened. The setting sun struck the cliff at a perfect oblique angle. Its golden light didn't gloss over the imperfections. It poured into them. It flooded the deep fissures, turning them into rivers of molten gold. It illuminated the raw, sheared-off sections, making them glow with a warm, rosy light. The gnarled juniper trees were suddenly cast in sharp, heroic relief, their stubborn perseverance etched in shadow and light. The cliff was no longer a broken, scarred thing. In this specific, perfect light, it was stunningly, magnificently beautiful. Its wounds were now its most glorious features. The cracks were not failures. They were channels for the light. The broken parts were not weaknesses. They were where the sun found its deepest purchase. A thought, quiet yet undeniable, settled in Elijah's heart. It wasn't an audible voice, but a knowing, a deep and resonant truth that felt like it came from somewhere beyond himself. "You see the cracks, Elijah. I see the light waiting to fill them. You see the broken pieces. I see the unique design they create. Your struggle is not a sign of my absence. It is the very material I am using to make you stronger, more resilient, more beautiful. Do not despise the process. Your imperfections are not failures. They are the very things that will make your work and your life uniquely radiant. Tears, clean and hot, streamed down Elijah's face. They were not tears of sadness, but of profound relief. It was as if a dam had broken inside him. The weight lifted. The cold ash of his motivation was stirred by a fresh, warm wind of purpose. He didn't rush back. He sat there until the last sliver of sun disappeared, watching the light perform its daily miracle on the broken rock. The next morning, Elijah walked into his workshop with a new energy. He didn't see failures in the half-finished pieces. He saw potential. He went to the table with the hairline crack. Instead of trying to hide it, he took a thin strand of gold resin, a technique called kintsugi he'd read about but never tried. He carefully filled the crack, not to disguise it, but to highlight it. He made the flaw a feature, a river of gold running through the pale wood. He worked on the cabinet, not forcing the doors to close perfectly, but subtly reshaping the frame to celebrate their unique alignment. He fixed the jewelry box hinge, but also added a tiny inlaid golden leaf near it, a signature of its repair. When the client returned a week later, her eyes widened. She didn't just see a fixed box, she saw a story. It's more beautiful than I ever imagined, she whispered, tracing the golden leaf. It has character. It has a soul. Word spread. Elijah Miller wasn't just building furniture anymore. He was weaving resilience into wood. His pieces became known for their unique character, their embrace of imperfection, their hidden stories of repair and strength. Elijah kept a small, framed photograph on his workbench. It wasn't a picture of a perfect piece of furniture. It was a picture of the scarred cliff face at Eagle's Point, blazing with the light of the setting sun. A reminder that if you are going through a difficult time, God is trying to speak encouragement to you. He is not ignoring your cracks. He is preparing to fill them with gold. Your struggle is not your end. It is the raw material for your greatest masterpiece. You just have to shift your perspective and see it in the right light.